Hi, welcome to the virtual flight training. Your first flight training lesson is Familiarization Flight to get familiar with the aircraft and the airspace. In this lesson I hope to explain you about these 4 topics in detail. Pre-flight inspection. Familiarize into the flight deck. Familiarize into the aerodrome and training area. Am I fit to fly? As our first topic now you can learn how to perform your pre-flight inspection. It's basically a visual check of your aircraft prior to your flight. So at first you have to reach to your aircraft and open the left side door where the pilot in command sits in the aircraft. So then you can have a visual check of your cabin and the instrument panel for loose fittings and broken parts. Then you have to check the documents of your aircraft which you must carry with you. Those are the airworthiness certificate, aircraft registration, radio licenses, air operator license, insurance, and the flight school license since you are on a training flight. And you have to make sure your pilot license is valid and is carrying with you in flight. After checking those documents, then you have to turn the master switch on and then check the fuel quantity shows in the fuel quantity indicators. Then set the flaps to full and turn the masters back to off. Once complete this steps, take the fuel stick with you and go for the walk around. So you are going to start your visual examine of your aircraft from the left side door and follow the sequence shown in the picture. The purpose of doing this is to make sure the serviceability of your aircraft and no loose fittings and no cracks on the fuselage. So then you are coming into your tail section and there you can check the condition of the elevator and its control movement. And then you have to check the hinges of the elevator and the safety pins are installed. Then you can move to the inspection of the rudder. There also you have to check the hinges and the rudder movement control is serviceable and the bottom of your tail section is free from the tail's strikes. You can remove the tail tie down if installed and move with inspecting the right side elevator. In there you'll have to check the serviceability of the elevator trim tab and continue the inspection up to the trailing edge of your right side wing. There you have to check the serviceability of the flap holding arms and flap extension lever. You can check the right side aileron. You can check the movement of your aileron and the hinges and safety pins are installed. Then you can have a visual inspection of the wing for cracks and dents. And the navigation lights at the wingtips and remove the wing tie down if installed. Then you can do a manual check of your fuel quantity by using your fuel stick. To check main landing gear for tire creep and pressure. Then the safety pin and the brake disc condition and for brake fluid leakage. Then you can proceed to the nose of the aircraft. At first we are checking the engine oil quantity. And then drain some fuel to check for the water accumulation in the fuel system. And then we do an inspection of the nose wheel. And the strut. Then you can visually check your propeller condition, alternator belt condition and the landing lights. Then you have to check your static port for any blockage and then the left wing fuel quantity check. In the left wing you'll have the pitot tube. So you have to check the condition and the blockages of the pitot tube and continue the inspection as we did in the right side wing. After completing these checks you can proceed into the aircraft for a start-up. Our second topic is familiarize into the flight deck. This means you have to get familiar with the positions of the flight instruments and the use of those. So in the flight deck you'll have the control column of the aircraft, rudder paddles, engine control, engine gauges, ignition switch, master switch, fuses, electrical switches, and flight instruments. Your basic 6 instruments are at the same positions whatever the aircraft type, and the other instruments and gauges will change their location with aircraft type and model. Your basic and main 6 instruments are airspeed indicator, flight attitude indicator, altimeter, vertical speed indicator, directional indicator, and turn coordinator. So whatever the aircraft you fly, the arrangement of these 6 instruments would be the same. And further you'll have your magnetic compass above from your instrument panel and the fuel selector valve. Now we can move to our third topic, which is familiarize into the aerodrome and training area. The mean of this lesson is to learn about your aerodrome, taxiways, holding points, and the flight training area. The details of your aerodrome are published in the National Aeronautical Information publications. So you can learn about your taxiways, holding points, and the runway direction and surface details by accessing to the IP document. Basically, the holding point is we are going to stop our aircraft till the tower controller gives us the clearance to enter into the runway. So we are using this point to do our power checks and the before takeoff checks, since the holding point is away from the hangars. And you have to adhere to the taxiway and holding point instructions given by the controller. So your training area is a designated area within a close proximity to your aerodrome. But it's about 5 nautical miles away from the aerodrome circuit. And this area is clear of the obstacles and the congested areas at most of the time. Our last lesson is, am I fit to fly? So before your flight you have to make sure that you are fit to fly. If you have any sicknesses you may not fly. Especially if you have cold or have done scuba diving, you must stay on ground. Because when you are going high the pressure is reducing and the air molecules inside your body will start bloating, and that will make you uncomfortable and even cause dead. And if you are flying on an unpressurized aircraft you have to stay below 10,000 feet to get you enough oxygen supply. This will end our first lesson, and see you with the practical part of familiarization flight.